And now the recording has been started, and I'm going to share my screen. So just bear with me for a second. Good morning, good afternoon from wherever you're joining. Our topic today is using Azure Key Vault to store app service secrets, and we're going to be covering a few things. Um, and by the way, I will really appreciate if you can mute yourself if you're not speaking. Thank you. And here's something about myself. I have been with Microsoft for 14 and a half years. Been in software industry for 23 years, and my core area is app dev, distributed application. I have been working with Azure since its inception. And here is a quick agenda. As usual, we are going to cover some of the Azure service updates, and then we are going to go with our topic of discussion. So first of all, by the way, you can post your questions in the IM window or, just unmute your mic and ask. So first of all, here's a quick update. By the way, there are two sources of these updates. One is the Azure updates, which is just Bing, Google, Azure updates, and you should be able to get there. And the second one is Azure Blog. This is just, as I said, Azure Blog, and you will find both of these have useful Azure updates. What's coming, what's available, what's in preview, and what's in GA. Okay, so first of all, by the way, folks, please mute yourself. One big update is for Azure Kubernetes service, where for Azure DevOps, in relation to Azure DevOps. So if somebody has used Azure DevOps, it allows you to build quickly your DevOps pipeline for your application. With AKS, the issue was that whenever you use DevOps, it created a new AKS cluster, but you don't want that. I mean, normally, a number of times you may be deploying application to the same AKS cluster. And that's what it allows you to do. It allows you to deploy your AKS applications into the same AKS cluster or existing AKS cluster. So that's the right thing to say. So that's an enhancement to the Azure DevOps project for AKS. Okay. Second one is kind of a solution more than a new product. So if you don't know about Windows Indexer, it's an Azure Media Services or Azure Service Window service, which you can use to take existing video files and index them. It is kind of gives you all the text, not just the spoken text, any text that is behind, maybe on the billboard or written on the screen or something like that. And it allows you to identify people as well. This solution makes it available for live stream with a 4-minute delay. So with a maximum of 4-minute delay, you can index live stream. It uses Azure Cognitive Services and Azure Logic App and Azure Functions to do that. So, if you are with your customer are using media services or Windows Video Indexer and you want to use it for live stream, I think you may want to take a look at this particular solution. And this one, Azure.source, this is not an update. This is basically kind of a magazine or a single email which captures what happened in the last few weeks or, in Azure. So this is something very useful. It's available from Azure Blog. I'm not sure if you can subscribe to it, but this is something that you may want to look at for a complete rundown of all the updates, all the news, any interesting happenings in the Azure world. So that's a good way to go. And the link is available from Azure Blog, as you can say. This is Azure .source volume 70. Okay, so let's move on with our topic of discussion, which is Key Vault to store app service secrets. First of all, storing secrets is definitely a kind of always a challenge with an application where you want to store it, and it becomes an issue. Sometimes secrets leak, like keys or some, let's say your Twitter API key or a database key, it leaks, and then suddenly the production uh, credentials are now available to everybody, and that's kind of a big embarrassment, can be a big problem. That's where Azure Key Vault, comes to the rescue. And by the way, I'm just gonna go to this slide, and then I will come back to the previous slide. What Azure Key Vault does, put simply, it is an HSM based backed, HSM backed um, service to store your secrets, which can be password, FTP credential, database, key, connection strings, things like that. Your certificates, which you can use for SSL, for TLS or for encryption, or keys, which you can use for encryption. All of it you can store in Azure Key Vault. By the way, this service is available in all the regions. This is a global service. This is what we call a ring zero service. So whenever we have a new region, this service will be available. So that's all is needed that you need to know about Azure Key Vault for this session, because some probably in a later session we will talk in detail about what in depth about Azure Key Vaults and what it kind of does in depth. But in this session, it is one place where you can store your secret. And what it does is it allows you to kind of have create separation between storing the secret, which you maybe your ops team, maybe security team, which is kind of getting those keys and storing them, and then developers who will access those keys based on URLs, and they cannot see those keys, and those will be accessed at the runtime on the behalf of a service principal or the identity of the application. So that's where the second item in our discussion comes in, which is managed service identity or managed identity. So Azure introduced this concept a few months ago, maybe last year, where instead of using identities of a particular user, each application or each resource can have its own identity, a VM or a web app. And you can give access to those identity to query those secrets. So basically what you're doing is you're creating a web app, then you give it an identity. That identity you give access to query the secrets from the Azure Key Vault. And finally, what happens is that when the application starts up, it can query those secrets from that. So basically, nobody sees these secrets. Nobody sees what is the connection string, and all of that is handled at the runtime. Any questions so far? So in this scenario that we're going to see, there's a front-end web app. It's an Azure web app service from Azure App Service, and it is storing some of the IDs, like it accesses a FTP site, so it's FTP site user ID and password, and it also kind of monitors and writes to Twitter, and that's a Twitter API key. These two we have to store. So as I said, basically you can use Azure Key Vault for that. And on the left-hand side are the entities which are storing data into Azure Key Vault. Data can be secret, can be keys, can be certificates. It can be a user who can go in and manually create those secrets. It can be resource manager templates which are generating it, or your app which may be storing a secret at runtime if it has access to store a secret through its managed identity. It does that. Okay. And managed identity is a topic which we will cover later on as well in more detail, in more depth. Second one on the right hand side are the entities or which are reading those credentials based on their permission. So you have a person which can query that, resource manager, DevOps tool like VSTS as they're doing something, PaaS services like Databricks, and your app. So that's what you can, I mean, that's the entities that can access credentials. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to quickly go to the demo screen and I'm going to increase the font size a little bit so everybody can see. So first of all, I am going to create a web app. So I'm going to go into app services and I am going to create a new web app. I'm going to name it MZKV Demo 2, and it's going to be in the, I'm going to pick up a subscription. In terms of the resource group, I am going to use this resource group Windows. This is the plan. I don't want to just enable App Insight for now. So I'm just going to create it. It's going to create this particular application. On the other hand, I'm going to go into my key vaults, and I just want to show you where I have already created ident secrets. So this is my Azure Key Vault, and I have created these secrets here. This FTP password, URL, user ID, demo secret, Twitter key. Okay. And basically I can either import the secret or I can, if it's a certificate, I can do it. Otherwise, manually, I can give it a name, value of the secret. If I want, I can set an activation or expiration date. I can disable a secret if I don't, I'm still, don't want it, somebody to use it. So it can do all of those things. I have already created those secrets. These are the list of the secrets here. And let's go in here. Let's see what happened. Has it created our app? Yes, it has created our app. So let's quickly go on the app itself. Okay. So this is the app. So now what we are going to do is we are going to create an identity for the app. And there are two identities. One is system assigned, one is user assigned. So what you can do is you can create a managed identity and assign it to this app, or you can create an identity for this particular app. Where it will be useful, if you have multiple apps which need to access same type of secret or same secret, you can use user assigned identity. But in this case, we're just going to be simple. We're just going to say system assigned and this. So as you can see, there are two roles. The admin, the ops admin went in and he or she has, that person has created those secrets in this particular key vault. Developer does not know about that secret. In this demo, yes, I'm adding those secrets, but they can be entirely two different groups. One creating the secrets and one whose app will access those secrets. So let's see. Yes, the identity has been assigned. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into this screen and give access to this new identity to these secrets. So what will I do? I go in and I will say access policies. I do add new, and I will select the principal. So what I'm going to do is I can type in here and the KV, and hopefully, yes, this is the one, if you remember, NZKV demo, it picks up that user. I select it, and what type of permission? Since it's going to be only, you want to give the least permission, basically the least privileged model, so give it the permission that only it needs to do the job. What it needs is only to get the secrets. Okay, but just keep in mind, in this keyword, if you give him the give the app the get permission, it will be able to access all the secrets. So far, there is no way to limit it to a certain set of secrets. If you want to do that, you may want to create a separate keyword. Okay. So with that, I'm just going to say OK and save. And now this app has full permissions to those secrets. Okay. So now I'm going to open a web app, and I just want you to look at the code. So just for the sake of time, what I have done is I have already kind of updated some of the code, and I just will walk you through the code itself. So give it a second. Let it load. So this is the controller, and let me increase the font size a little bit. That's 250, and I'm gonna hide this, and I'm gonna hide this. Okay. So first of all, we added two references. So this is an ASP.NET application, not core. These are the two references you can add. You can do it with Node.js. You can do it with .NET Framework Core. Okay, sorry, .NET Core. So you can do it with all of them. There are different libraries, but for .NET Core, the library names are the same. For, of course, Node.js, there are different packages that you have to add. So you have to add these two libraries. Then you have to create an, so there are two ways you can access those secrets. One way is that you basically create a token provider, and then please look at this line where you do a Key Vault client. So what you are doing is you are creating a Key Vault client based on the identity of your application, the application with which you are running. Okay, so that's what it is doing. And then you get the credential from that keyword using this method. Okay, so you are getting, so each secret in the keyword, I'm sorry, each secret in the keyword, if we go in here, secrets, has a particular URL. If you use it without the URL, it's going to give you the latest version. But if you definitely want to use, if you use it without that end key, it will give you the latest version, but you just want to use the entire URL, the full identifier, so that you can get the version, get the secret version that you want. So that's what you're doing. You are coding them. And in the end, I'm just putting in a view bag. This is kind of just boilerplate code. Okay, here in this line is very interesting. I am not using a keyword. Basically, for this line, I'm not, there is no need to authenticate with a keyword, because this one is taking advantage of app service latest integration with keyword, where you can go into your app service. So I'm going to show you an app service that I already have. Let's go in here and let's go into the app services. And what I'm going to do is, give me 1 second. Okay. So I already have an app service here. Just for the sake of time, I want to show you how its application settings are. So this is basically the application setting, and I have added a new application setting here. Sorry, I think I went too far. Okay, hold on one second. Let me just show you. I think it was a different app. Let me just go back. I think it is this one. It'll be fun. Yes. So this is the demo secret. This is the entry I have put in. And if you look at this URL, I'm going to take it out and I'm going to paste it in Notepad so you can see it, its full value. So this is how it looks. So basically it uses, so this is a reference. This is called a Key Vault reference. This is currently in preview. In this case, you don't need to go through this mumbo jumbo of creating the token provider and then querying it. In this case, you just don't need even a code change. If you are doing your app setting, you just do the app setting the same way. App service will basically go in and it's with its integration of behind the scene, its integration with Key Vault, it will using the reference that you have provided here. It will, sorry, it will use that to query the key. So it all happens behind the scene. Just keep in mind that it is currently in public preview. So you can take advantage of it, but it is not available in a GMO. So that's another way. If you don't like that, or you think it's kind of a too much, you want to do it explicitly, you can use that. Okay. Any questions? So let me show you how does that look. So let me run this app. I'm gonna browse this. So as you can see, I am displaying it. This is the Twitter key. This is the FTP URL. This is FTP UID. And these were all queried through their URL links. The secret link, the complete link. But see, if you remember, for demo secret, we are not using any query. We are basically just, if we go back to the code, we are just basically doing, hey, give me the demo secret. That's it. And then we are printing the demo secret here. So it is doing that conversion behind the scene. App service because through its integration with Key Vault to provide you. But just keep these steps in mind. First of all, you need to create an identity for the app. Then you or your ops team need to provide that identity, read access to the Key Vault where your secrets are stored. These two steps you have to take care of. And then you need to get the URL of those secrets and put them in your config, in app settings to query that information at runtime. Okay, so that's the steps that you have to take. I know there are two important things that we will probably discuss soon in our future session. One is managed identities, and the second one is a Key Vault. Because these two are, there is more and more integration happening with Key Vault, with other Azure services, and managed identity is becoming the de facto way how you basically services authenticate with each other. So for example, if you have a web app, you want to access a database instead of you storing a database connection string, Azure SQL database or Azure Postgres, instead of storing the connection string, you connect to it through managed identity. So that's some important topic. So we have 3 minutes. Any questions? Okay. Let me see if there are any questions in the IM window. So are there any questions in the IM window? Let me see.
There were a couple questions, Navid. I answered them. One for the high availability for
Thank
the
you, sir.
service,
Great.
and one for failover, but I have answered those questions.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thanks. So in regards to the managed identity, we will definitely cover it. But if you see in this example, I didn't talk about database connection string because database connection strings are no longer needed to be stored if they are for Azure SQL database because you can use managed identity to connect. So by the way, in regards to Java apps, definitely there are going to be libraries for Java. I'm not sure if that library is still available, but I mean it's not available, but there would be a library in Java to interact with managed identities, just like we have for on Node.js. Okay. Any other questions? Okay. So um, so as usual, all the slide deck, as well as the video will be available on our YouTube channel. Look for the link of the slide deck in the description. Okay, so just just look into that, and I will upload the video and the slide deck hopefully by this afternoon. And if there are no other questions, uh, thank you very much and a happy Friday. And Malik, thank you for your help, man. Really appreciate that.
Absolutely. Thanks, Navid, for the session.
Thank you. Thank you very much.